We're off to a 3-1 start. We're coming off a road trip to South Carolina. We played Coastal Carolina, Virginia Tech, and UNC Greensboro. It was a tough trip. It was by design. We wanted to open up the season cross country, getting a regional type atmosphere. Travel very difficult. Traveled overnight. Tough place to play. Our kids handled it great. We came out of there 2-1. And then, the really smart guy in the room, me, we scheduled Fullerton on a Tuesday after a really rough road trip. We came out 2-1. Fullerton gets ranked in the top 25. And we went ahead and made 6 errors, but we won the game. And so our kids handled that adversity exceptionally well. So I'm very proud of where we are right now. We have a lot of meat on the bone. We got a long ways to go. Going into the tournament, it's the Tony Gwynn legacy, and really the idea behind this is that we celebrate Tony's legacy, and this is a focal point for, this weekend, for great programs throughout the country to come and play in San Diego. But, what I will say is that our baseball program celebrates Tony's legacy every single day, and so this is kind of a turbocharged what we do every day with Tony, and so we're really looking forward to a great weekend. We play Iowa today, Nebraska tomorrow, and then USC on Sunday. But it's a great field. It's a great opportunity for us to kind of continue to hopefully get better as a baseball team and improve our resume, so to speak.
Would you say this is the toughest 3-game stretch in the non-conference?
I would say that it's a difficult weekend, but our schedule this year is very difficult. We're playing Oregon State next week. We're playing at Oklahoma. Again, the midweek games are always really difficult. So I think every week that we play is a tough week, and so even in conference, so it's very difficult, conference to win at too. So we got to concentrate day at a time. We talk about opening day every day. This, we try to tell our guys to forget about what's in the past and just worry about one day at a time. It's a lot of cliche type stuff, but, for us, it's today's opening day. Once again, we forget what's going on and try and get that energy for an opening day type atmosphere.
Yeah, just committing 6 errors on Tuesday. Is this still kind of a positive feeling for you? You're still able to win 8-4 and kind of show the suit.
Absolutely. We good teams win ugly, right? And that's the first thing I said when I walked in after the game. I said, look, I think they were expecting me to kind of get on them in a little bit, but I'm like, hey, it's a W. It's the only stat that matters is that we still won the game, and we found a way to make some glaring mistakes on the field and still find a way to win. And, the infield coach after the game got a very stern talking to by his wife. I'm the infield coach, so we got some work to do, but we'll clean those things up. We're a very talented group, and that's not going to be the norm for our program. We are hanging our hat on pitching and defense. Even though we didn't play a good game on Tuesday defensively, our offense found a way to pick us up. But I can tell you the one thing that will be consistent for us this year is our pitching and our defense.
How meaningful is this legacy tournament and the opponents? Is this easy to schedule? Is it tough to get teams to come out? I would imagine
anytime you put a tournament together, and then you add the name Tony Gwynn to it, I think it makes it a lot more attractive for teams to come in and play here, and so I wouldn't call it easy, but at the same time it's easier just because we're celebrating, a legend in Tony Gwynn, and so I think the biggest thing that, I can continue to tell our coaching staff, the people within our department, is we want to make sure that message is passed along to the programs that are coming in here. Because if you think about it, a lot of the kids that are playing right now haven't seen Tony play. And really what we want to celebrate, not what his playing career was, but what he did off the field. A man of high character, great husband, great father, great grandfather, great mentor, great teacher. Those are the things that we want to make sure we get the message across to the groups that are coming in. And so we make sure we spend some time with the other coaching staffs, obviously the other players. We try to say, hey, listen, here's who Tony was and still is to this day, and we're going to try and celebrate his legacy, hopefully long after I'm done coaching here.
You mentioned you travel overnight.
Yeah.
How did that happen?
Well, with the baseball program, we look at budget first, and we have a great travel agent, Melissa Gill. we were looking at, traveling out there on a Thursday, and we'd have to leave in the morning. That's a wash as far as class goes, so that kind of went out the window, and found some flights that left at 10:30 on Wednesday evening and got us in at 6 a.m. And of course, it didn't go perfect. We flew into Charlotte, and then we had to fly to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Both our flights from Charlotte to Myrtle Beach were delayed. We had to split the plane because they're two little commuter jets, and ended up we both got there at the same time. Worked out great. Went and had lunch and went and worked out, and our guys handled it great. They really did. It was a good experience for our guys, and we wanted it to be tough, and that was probably one of the tougher, schedules you could put in front of them, especially to start the season.
When you, or is it change the temperature a bit here? When you're sitting here in college and trying to teach people how to play the game, is it hard to watch what's going on in Major League Baseball with a bunch of people who didn't treat the game the way you probably would like it to be treated?
Well, I mean, again, we're celebrating Tony Gwynn, right? And I think Tony Gwynn, first and foremost, did things right. And I will tell you that he worked his tail off. And he's the guy that kind of started the video deal. And what he did, was homework, and trying to figure out what a pitcher might do. And every pitcher does it. They have a tell. It's like a poker player. And so if you're sitting across the table and you're playing poker, you try to figure out what the next move might be. Pitchers do the same thing. They'll hold their glove differently. They'll hold the ball differently. And so I think I would liken it to this, is that number one is that if you had a camera behind the guy playing poker against you, you have a huge advantage, right? And if you had a camera, you know what's going on. And that's kind of what the Astros did. And for me, it's extremely lazy. If you do your homework, you can find out what that tell will be. You can figure it out. But it takes work, and so Tony figured out, okay, what does a guy throw on a 1-1 count, 2-1 count, and what is more likely he was going to be looking for during those times. And that, for me, that was just work, and it was a way to kind of find a way to get an advantage. And he was very, very good at it, obviously, at 338 in the big leagues. But he did it the right way. He wasn't going to cheat, so to speak, or try to use technology or whatever. Even the technology that was available to him at that time, he used that to figure out what that tell might be. And so for me, it just shows how lazy that organization got. They took the easy way out. Again, it's kind of what a lot of people do. If you ask anybody a trivia question, what's the first thing they're going to do? They're going to look at their phone. They're cheating, instead of, get some knowledge and figure it out, And so very disappointed in that whole thing. It's an embarrassment to baseball. Hopefully, we can get through the summer and it kind of starts to fade away. But I think it's going to be around that conversation going to be around for a long time.
There was some question as to how much justice was done there, and now there's some question as to how much justice the other players are going to take in their own hands. Is that something though where you go, hey, let's be careful here, let's not injure some folks by accident trying to get justice of our own if you're a player?
Yeah, I mean, I think what I've been looking for more than anything are the people that are actually in front of the microphone. Are they showing contrition? And my personal opinion is at this point, no. And so until there's some contrition and people are really honestly sorry for what they did and find a way to repair that, then I think there should be some type of penalty. If they can show contrition and really show that this is going to be cleaned up and they take ownership of it, then I think then you can move forward with it and hopefully it'll clean itself up.
Coach, going back to the tournament early play, do you guys have a series like this where you guys play 3 different opponents in 3 different days? How do you guys kind of prepare for something like this weekend versus a 3-game series?
Well, again, we're scrambling. You think about it, we open up the season with 3 different opponents, and so you don't really get a ton of data, back to back to back. Actually 4, because you have to include, Fullerton, and you have 3 different opponents over the weekend. So we're scrambling. We're trying to find, a lot of video on different people, and it's hard, especially when there's new people in a lineup. And so for us, what we're talking about preparing-wise is really concentrating on what we do and what we do best. And we can make adjustments in game according to that. So right now, we don't have a lot of those tells. We don't have a lot of the information we have where we would have in a 3-game series or if we've played someone previously. And so it's exciting because, we have 2 Big Ten teams that we're playing, and that conference is gaining a lot of momentum nationally. Michigan was in the national championship series last year, and Iowa and Nebraska, coming off great weekends themselves. It's going to be entertaining to say the least, and it's going to be very challenging as well because we don't have a lot of information on any of the teams. But all our coaching staff, our managers, our grad managers, everybody's grinding right now, trying to kind of figure out the scouting reports and figure those things out for this weekend. But it's just an honor to have an opportunity to play these types of program over the course of the weekend.
You guys play USC. Do you ever see yourself battling with UFC, getting top recruits in the Southern California region?
All the time. Southern California, you're fighting with everybody, whether it's in the Pac-12, the Big West, the WCC, on the recruiting trail. And there's a lot of great players, not just in San Diego, which we're trying to do a great job in San Diego, but around Southern California, in the Southwest. And so you're also got to include the entire Pac-12. You're talking about Oregon State, Oregon, Washington State that filter into Southern California recruiting. So, yeah, we're always battling against USC and UCLA and all those kind of blue bloods of the baseball world. So we've won some of those battles, but we're going to continue to hopefully increase those wins when we go up against those great programs.